Welcome to Section 420, Talkin Yankees, the podcast. Well, as we inch closer to the winter meetings, some trade rumors getting thrown out there, and some, actually one big name that I think would be actually makes sense for the Yankees, and that is Corey Seager. Now possibly being linked as Texas looks to possibly unload some payroll on their end, and Yankees, in the need of a shortstop with, Volpe right now not prepared to start the season and has been coming off really a down year for him, with the Yankees potentially look to make a trade, upgrade the position there, but as well as take on a lot of salary there. So this is some of the fun part of the whole hot stove and winter meeting stuff. So we're going to get into a lot of these throughout this offseason. We'll get into Corey Seager now, and plus some other Yankee news regarding Spencer Jones and so forth. So buckle the seatbelt. Okay, it's not going to be that exciting, but it should be entertaining. So before we get started, make sure you subscribe to this podcast. Section 420, Talkin Yankees, the podcast, wherever you get your favorite podcast. There's also the YouTube version of the show. Just dropped the latest episode a couple of days ago. Kind of did the instant reaction to Trent Grisham. Surprisingly taking the Yankees qualifying offer, and kind of hearing some blowback there where a lot of the feedback has actually been negative towards the Yankees on that. I don't really think so, but go to YouTube, subscribe to Section 420, Talkin Yankees, and get the content there as well. So getting back to where I started there, a couple of reports going around linking possibly Corey Seager going to maybe the Yankees. This is comes after the Texas looking to unload some payroll, where obviously the past couple of years, they did have their World Series win there, and kind of crazy enough. But again, brought on a lot of talent to do so and a lot of payroll. Obviously, Marcus Semien from Toronto, they took on his payroll. It was the same year. They got Corey Seager. I believe that was 2021. They spent like $500 million on their infield alone. Also, recently, a couple years ago, took on Jacob deGrom, the orphan injured, but of course, when he's healthy, one of the best pitchers in the game there. And I guess now they're looking to shed off some of that payroll. And, obviously, there's a story by Ken Rosendahl of The Athletic, basically naming as the Yankees as a possible destination for Corey Seager. Now, according to the story from Rosendahl, Seager has 8 teams on his no-trade list. Now, it's not known if the Yankees are one of those teams. You want to make sure you get traded to a team that potentially could take on your payroll. Well, the Yankees can take on your payroll potentially. So the whole question is, if the Yankees, would that be a good move for you? Obviously, he's not an old guy. He's 31 years old. But again, you're taking on, he has 6 years left on that contract with $189 million. So the guy's making about $31 million per change there. And compared to what you're paying Volpe, which is about less than $1 million, you're talking about now upgrading that position at $30 million, and is it worth it? You know what? I would actually really strongly consider that one, just for the fact that right now you're not really 100% you're going to get Cody Bellinger back. It seems like both the Mets and the Yankees are going to be the top 2 teams duking them out, but you're also hearing word that, Toronto, kind of coming off, even though they kind of, fell a little short in the World Series, probably feeling their wild oats, might also make a play for Bellinger as well, even his former team, the Dodgers, who, again, as we always know, they would want a reunion with the player that came up through the system there. So, again, Yankees not really a sure thing to get Cody Bellinger, even though he can express that he would like to come back. But, of course, the Yankees are probably going to have to outbid possibly the Mets, and we saw what happened last season. The Yankees kind of got outbidded for Juan Soto. So, could Stevie come in again and want to kind of embarrass the Yankees and outbid them? So that's a possibility there. So the Yankees might have to look at some other areas, and if you're going to spend some money somewhere, Seager might be that guy for you. And if you look at the resume, it's quite impressive. He's a 2-time World Series champion, and the Yankees could use some of that World Series experience and grit. Former Rookie of the Year, 3-time Silver Slugger, as well as a 5-time All-Star. Now, it doesn't really have any Gold Gloves there, but, obviously, I'm not to say he's terrible, he's not great there, but Volpe has the 1 Gold Glove in his rookie year, but other than that, it's not like, Volpe's actually Ozzie Smith there. So if we get more offensive production, I think, you could say that the defense for both those guys is a push, and actually, you'd probably just feel a little bit more safe with Seager there, who just seems more stable, as Volpe coming off a bit of a tumultuous season at the defensive position. Now, a lot of that probably to do with the left shoulder tear, but still Volpe with not really the greatest of defensive season there, so you would definitely be upgrading as well. And if you want to look at some of the statistics now, one thing you got to worry about Seager a little bit, you only played 97 games last year, so you got to worry about the injury bug a little bit. But if you want to just look at their stats, the hot one everyone looks at is WAR. This season, Volpe at 1.6, and against wins above replacement, meaning basically if any other player was in there, how many more games would have won this per season? And Volpe with 1.6 is basically telling you that you could have maybe had anybody else at shortstop, and it probably wouldn't have made that much of that difference. Maybe Volpe would have got you 1 or 2 more wins than what you would normally ended at. So it's not that impressive versus Seager. His WAR is about 5 runs higher at 6.2. So 6.2 for Seager versus 1.6 for Volpe. So clearly, according to the baseball stats crunchers, Seager, by him being in Texas's lineup, he gave them 5 more basically wins per season versus they didn't have it. So it's a little bit more impressive than Volpe. On base percentage, Volpe with 272 versus Seager at about 100 points higher, 373. And then on base plus slugging, Volpe with 663. And again, Seager clearly a winner, 200 points higher at 860. So clearly, Seager, the more productive player, the more essential player. So yes, you're paying a lot more money for the position, but you're getting much more production than you're getting out of Volpe. This is a question of do you want to take on his salary there where, as you negotiate with Texas now, they're probably looking to dump the salary. So it's not like the Yankees have to give up any sort of grade A prospects to do that. And as we've seen the Yankees do, with A-Rod and some other deals, potentially get Texas just to eat some of that money. As well as the same thing with Gio Colstat when they took over his humongous contract at the time in 2018, got Florida to eat some of his money. So, hey, if you could get Seager and you don't have to give up much and you get maybe Texas to eat some of that money just for the relief of get him off the books, I think that would be a good move for the Yankees. And then again, you could include Volpe in that trade. It's not like, you can't not trade him. Say goodbye to Volpe, which, the Yankees got to make some differences, make some changes here. I don't hate Volpe. I don't think it costs the Yankees that much in terms of holding them back, but it's definitely an upgrade you can make to your team right away. And again, other than, you have to bump your payroll up a little bit there, but you don't have to give up too much to get him. And he's not like an old dog. He's 31, going to be 32 sometime next, it's not like you're getting, taking on some 35 or 36-year-old. I mean, you still get a couple good years out of him, and probably those last 2 or 3 years you're going to be annoyed with him. You'll probably be hurt and banged up, and you're like, hey, why did I take this contract? But at least for the near future, the next 2 or 3 seasons at least, he's relatively a young guy. So he's a proven winner. He's a 2-time World Series champion. Again, the Yankees don't really have much of that World's championship type of grit on this team. A lot of experience. This guy could bring it. And as a shortstop, you kind of like the captain out there a little bit. You're kind of the general there at an important position. I just think it helps everybody just defensively all around. And again, you're improving your infield defense. I would figure Volpe would be better than he was. Just again, he was dealing with that shoulder injury, but you're definitely improving your defense exponentially, I think, and you're kind of just solidifying everything. So that's a move I wouldn't mind taking. Now, you also hear, also Texas looking to unload is Jacob deGrom as well. Now, of course, that'd be embarrassment of riches. That'd be great as well. Now, deGrom, only problem with him is, again, when he's in there, he's probably one of the best pitchers in baseball. It's just he's hurt too often. So I don't know if I'll take a bite at that one. I mean, he's 37 years old now. He's 2 years left on the deal. So even if you do take him on, I mean, you're not stuck with the guy forever. But again, 37 years old is kind of getting up there a little bit in age. This is not the DeGrom maybe of 5-6 years ago with the Mets, where even with all the injuries, you still take the risk now. Now, as you get older and have injuries, it's a little bit of a different situation. I mean, I don't know if the Yankees could maybe swoop both these guys in. I mean, that'd be something special. Just imagine a rotation with, deGrom, Cole returning, Max Fried, Carlos Rendon, and then Cam Schlittler, or you'd maybe do something with Luis Heel and you could trade him away in a piece like that. I mean, that'd be somewhat of a dream. I just think that's too far-fetched. I just don't think the Yankees would want to take a gamble on deGrom like that. But the Seager one kind of makes sense now. Supposedly, Hal Steinbrenner is looking to keep the payroll under $300 million. So right now, it looks like they committed to $259 million. So if they get both deGrom and Seager, they're going to go over to 300. So probably that's out of the question. You can bring in potentially then, if you do bring in Seager, then now you kind of up in your payroll to about 281, and then you got about $19 million to play around with. So the Yankees are still probably going to want to bring at least a few more arms in with the bullpen. I think the rotation they kind of set there, but the Yankees probably definitely want to, obviously got to replace or see what you want to do with both Devin Williams and Luke Weaver, if you want to bring those both guys back or bring someone else comparable to them who could replace them. There's always internet memes. You can't really believe that. The Yankees were at least having some talks with the Devin Williams camp. I cannot see bringing that guy back whatsoever. I mean, I think that'd be terrible, especially on a long-term deal. It's okay for what the Yankees did in 2025. Took a 1-year flyer on him, even though he was coming off a little bit of a hurt year, and he kind of gave up that big home run to Pete Alonso in the playoffs there. That all kind of made sense, getting rid of Nestor Cortez. There really wasn't a place for Cortez anymore, really, I think, in the rotation. So that all made sense. But you're going to give this guy a 3-year deal and give him like $18, $19 million per year after what he just did last season. I think that'd be a huge error. I hope that doesn't happen. I can't really see that happening. I mean, I could think at least 6 or 7 games alone that he lost for the Yankees. Either games that he blew the lead or came into a tied game in 9th or 10th inning and gave up the winning run there. You can't reward this guy with all that. And plus the fact that he came in with the beard and he kind of twisted Cashman and Steinbrenner's arm to, relax on the Yankee facial hair policy. And then with that in mind, he stinks like the first of the 3-4 months of the season. Now, look, he did correct the ship a little bit. In September, he was good. And, the spots they put him in the postseason, he did his job. I can't knock him for that. But it's not enough to convince me to want this guy back. And you don't even know what you're going to do with him. You don't know if he could... If you have him as a closer, and right now you're looking at Bednar, who's under contract as your closer. So I would say thank you, but goodbye, Devin Williams. Luke Weaver, I know he said some bad things in terms of his confidence being shot, and who knows what that is. At least if you're going to bring someone back, I'd bring back Weaver. I mean, he's done it here. He's proven here. Last year was just a bad year. Got hurt, and I don't know how you explain that. But I would, if you're going to bring one of those guys back, I'd bring back Weaver. I would not want to bring back Devin Williams. 1 year was enough for me to say goodbye, thank you. And again, if had anyone else there but Devin Williams, you look at those 7 or 8 games that he lost for the Yankees one way or another. Yankees probably win the AL East, and playoff picture could be totally different. Now, I don't know if they would have gotten past Toronto either way. Just Toronto seemed like a bit of a buzzsaw that just some things clicked for the right time for them. But when you win the AL East crown, you could take maybe that first couple weeks off and kind of rest some guys and give guys like Rendon and Fried a little bit more of a rest, and maybe it would have been a different outcome. You never know. But I do not want to see Devin Williams back. So hopefully those are just rumors, but nothing else. But again, I will take on Corey Seager. And some other Yankee news, and again, we get covered on the YouTube episodes. Kind of ran out of time there. The Yankees kind of protecting some of their prospects. So they added Spencer Jones, Elmer Rodriguez, as well as Chase Hampton to the official 40-man roster. Now you might be thinking, why are they doing that? Because with the winter meetings, you have something called the Rule 5 draft. So if you have all your prospects, I think when you draft them at a certain age, I think within 5 years, if you haven't blown up to a majors, you have to add them to the 40-man roster. This way it protects them from the Rule 5 draft. And basically what the Rule 5 draft is that players who aren't protected, who aren't on the 40-man roster, all those GMs there in, I guess, the winter meetings this year is going to take place in Orlando, can draft a player from another team. They have an opportunity to pretty much buy them outright and add them to their major league roster for the next season. So by the Yankees adding those 3 prospects, even though Chase Hampton had Tommy John surgery last year, he's not going to be ready probably for the 2026 season, it protects them from being drafted from another team and keeps him there, which you all figure, Spencer Jones, not that you figure would be on the 40-man roster, but good chance he might make the Major League club for 2026. And that's yet another reason the Yankees don't really have the gun to the head of having to sign Cody Bellinger. Again, they took care of themselves at center field. And now, again, outfield, some options there. You kind of have Jason Dominguez floating around. His 2025 season, it was kind of a mixed bag. He had his playing time early. He wasn't great. He wasn't atrocious. I think expect a lot more out of him. But he's still a young guy. He's like 22. So I think get him some winner ball there. I think that would be helpful, as well as kind of the fact that he's had a first full season under his belt in the major leagues. I think that would help him as well. And not really ready to get rid of him totally yet. Okay, he's probably not going to be a Gold Glove defender out in the left field, but again, the Yankees could kind of work on that. But you also have someone like Spencer Jones as well, just added into the mix. He's a natural center fielder. Not sure if he'd be able to make a transition to left field, but again, gives the Yankees some options to look at. And just the way he mashed last season, hitting 35 home runs and stealing bases and doing pretty much everything. He's someone who, I don't know if he needs AAA. I mean, good chance if he could come right up right away, then you can almost like, you have to spend $160 million on Cody Bellinger. Cody Bellinger right now is the more polished player. He's a veteran. I get it. He can play all outfield positions there, but you can consider some other options as having maybe lean into Spencer Jones, have him play left field, obviously you got Grisham in center, and then maybe make that move and use the money for Corey Seager and upgrade your shortstop position. So, again, the Yankees have that option. Now, heard a lot of bad feedback around the Grisham deal that the Yankees kind of got egg on their face, and it's like, why would you give a qualifying offer when someone might actually take it? Then what do you do? Yeah, I guess the whole feedback is that the Yankees are possibly, by making the qualified offer, if another team would have signed Grisham, then the Yankees would get that draft pick from that team. Then maybe that's what the Yankees were looking for, not thinking he would actually take the $22 million. He ended up taking it. Either way, I don't really think it was a big deal. What pick were you going to get from like some team from the Diamondbacks or whoever would have signed him that would have been made that big of a difference? Like, all right, you're going to overpay for this guy for a little bit, but it's just one season. Look, he gave you a $22 million worth of effort in 2025. Is he going to be able to repeat that? I don't know. Probably come close, but for 1 year, you got a center fielder that still has pretty good defense you could trust out there. Guy was relatively healthy the whole season, so yeah, maybe the Yankees got the pants down a little bit on that, but again, it's not terrible. It's just 1 year, and then, all right, so if you got to eat a chunk of money for one season, then you get rid of them, it's not a big deal. I mean, how many years the Yankees waste money with, Josh Donaldson and DJ LeMahieu and Aaron Hicks and Carl Pavano and just guys that you're paying millions of dollars for and giving you to nothing or not even playing. So whatever. Here's a guy Grisham is actually going to play. You're overpaying for a little bit. So what? Big deal. So that's the episode. We'll see what happens here. I wouldn't mind having Corey Seager, but most likely it's not going to happen. It seems like the Yankees, as much as fans want them to be like the Dodgers, I don't know if they're really going to do something like that. I'm not saying Cashman won't make moves. He always makes moves. I mean, he made a lot of moves at the trade deadline. But if that one happens, I wouldn't complain. Catch you next time.